Denver's Independent Monitor reported this week that only 25% of the incidents involving the use of force were recorded over the last 6 months of the Denver Police Department's body camera pilot program. The department challenged the numbers, saying far more incidents were caught on video, and the study included many officers who weren't wearing cameras. Patty, this is one of the situations where I think the headline looked pretty bad. When you looked at it, the police department had a pretty good point that the study that the Independent Monitor looked at included a lot of sergeants that weren't wearing the cameras at all, so obviously weren't getting any video there. What do you think about the prognosis and the future of body cameras in Denver?
Well, I still think body cameras are a good idea. It's probably smart to wear them and turn them on if you really want to make sure you are protecting both the people you are out to protect and your own reputation if you're a cop. There are more concerning stats in this report, though, than just the percentage that weren't captured on film. How about 80 excessive force claims in District 1, where only a quarter were caught on camera? The fact that there are 80 claims is more worrisome, I think, than the fact that only a quarter were caught on camera. So good for Nicholas Mitchell for staying on this issue, a good appointment by Hancock, and good for Governor Hickenlooper because he set the things in motion for an independent monitor. It's one of the reasons we hope we are not going to have the same kind of trouble they've seen in Ferguson, both in reality and with perception.
David, do you see body cameras being proliferated with not only Denver but other major police departments throughout the metro area?
Sure, and there's a bill in the legislature to mandate them, which I don't think is a good idea at this point. I think it's good that we have a pilot program going on in Denver, which was just in the downtown district. And people say, well, it hasn't changed the number of complaints against the police, but it's just a pilot program. You know, only about 125 officers in a large city where you've probably got over 1,000 officers out there. It also shows that there is at least some resistance by some of them to having these. The reasons why some incidents weren't recorded was, well, the video wasn't good enough. That's fine because things happen and you're not always facing in the right direction. But others there was no battery in the camera. Well, part of when you go out to do your shift on patrol is you make sure that the ammunition in your gun is fresh, that your radio has properly functioning batteries on and on. So this ought to be another thing that gets checked and works properly. And some situations where a minority of officers just didn't turn them on, which is kind of odd. It's, yeah, if somebody comes at you from the side and you're walking down the street and attacks you, you don't have time to turn on a camera. But if you're getting out of a car to write a ticket or whatever, then before you exit the car, the camera ought to be on.
Craig, as a former prosecutor within the city of Denver, do you feel there's going to be any excuse that City of Denver is going to have to not make this a practice for the entire department? I mean, I realize there's cost of the storage of the media, but after that, is there any other excuse the city can really rely upon?
Just human error, technological failure. You know, this new technology is a blessing and a curse. It's like the advent of DNA as a forensic tool. Now juries expect it in every case. Pretty soon juries will expect, well, where's the body camera? If you don't have it, maybe it's a problem for a prosecutor. And if an officer said, oh, I just failed to turn it on, then his testimony might be suspect. What's the good reason for you not to have it on? This is an interesting situation, and the Independent Monitor inevitably becomes adversarial to the rank and file of the police force. So it's a delicate situation, and these body cameras and the willingness of the rank and file to turn them on, that's going to be an issue.
Penn, it looked like from some of the reports from the police department, not from the Independent Monitor, showed that one of the officers that was supposed to use a body camera was disciplined for not using it. Is the police department going to need to step up that discipline to make sure that they're backing up the whole use of body cameras so that the police themselves have more credibility with this new technology?
Absolutely. You know, we've talked before about the fact that these body cameras play two significant roles. Number one, they help give you some sort of additional visual evidence with regard to claims of police excessive force. But number two, they help exonerate officers who haven't done anything incorrectly. And so the good thing about the monitor's report, and I agree with Patty, I think Nick has done a great job, and I think he's raising the right issue. But the good thing about the report and all the back and forth about the details is at least now there appears to be the presumption within the department that we have to use these cameras. We need to work out the details and making sure officers are checking them like their weapons and their radios and everything when they go out. And they standardize when you turn them on, when you turn them off, when you download them, when you get off your shift. Those are some of the details we've got to work on. What's going to be fascinating is the example you cited. Invariably, there are going to be some officers who will not comply, and it's because they don't want their actions caught recorded. And those are the officers that the city's going to have to decide whether to terminate them.